The Edge at 11 starts now.
Tonight on The Edge, an incredibly sad update to a story we've been following. 3 bodies found in a burned SUV on Detroit's west side.
The case now ruled a triple homicide, and we've learned the victims are all related. Fox News' Jessica Dubnak with the details on this.
2 women and a 9-year-old child found in that burned SUV last weekend in Detroit. Detroit police working around the clock to find that killer. They say they have a person of interest in custody. It's an ex-boyfriend to one of the victims.
We have a person of interest in custody, and I really have to be tight-lipped because the investigation continues.
What it's revealed so far, heartbreaking, almost unbelievable. The 3 female victims found inside this SUV in an overgrown alley Sunday morning are all family members. A woman, her daughter, and the daughter's 9-year-old niece who they'd been watching.
With a case like this, it really upset me as well, and it upset our community, and it can create a sense of fear.
It's alleged the 2 older women were shot and killed, the child stabbed to death, before their bodies were loaded up in an SUV and dumped near Tireman and West Grand Boulevard before it was torched. Less than 48 hours after the bodies were discovered, police took the ex-boyfriend of the daughter into custody.
My homicide detectives worked around the clock along with Michigan State Police. We put our homicide task force on it, and so we utilized all of our assets.
A search warrant in relation to the triple homicide was done Sunday at a home near Chalmers and Frankfort. Inside, a 4-year-old boy alone, sleeping in a bedroom. He's related to the murder victims. He was unharmed in all of this. Detroit Police Chief Todd Bettison says this was all an isolated situation.
We will be relentless in not stopping when something like this happens.
Police are not using the word suspect quite yet, but their investigation is moving rapidly. We will stay on it. Reporting on Detroit's west side, Jessica Dubnak on The Edge.
Also tonight, several families have been displaced after a fire at their apartment complex in Ann Arbor.
Now, the good news here, everybody got out okay, but it caused a lot of damage. Fox News' Dave Spencer has more on what happened.
The flames were already shooting from the roof before one neighbor, living just feet away, awoke to someone banging on his door.
I looked out, I saw an orange glow through the blinds of my window, and I thought it was the sun rising.
When he got a closer look,
almost the entire top of the place was ablaze, and the roof was gone already at that point. The flames were up 20 to 30 feet above the building.
It was around 5:45 Saturday morning at the Arbor Landing apartment complex. Ryan Garrett grabbed what he could and then called 911.
The dispatcher actually said that, fire is, almost on scene, and that people were actually calling it in from the highway.
He says police went door to door, alerting those who live close to the burning units.
There was really heavy wind that morning, was blowing everywhere, and so they just had us immediately evacuate.
Seconds later, Ann Arbor Fire arrived on scene. Firefighters say the damage from the fire itself was limited to just 2 units, but 6 others had massive smoke and water damage. Orange stickers and padlocks indicate that the 8 families who once called this place home will now need a new place to live.
A lot of the people here in the apartment complex have pitched in and been helping taking stuff out.
We learned one of those families includes a Dexter school teacher who's also a mother of 3. There's a GoFundMe page set up to help pay the expenses her renter's insurance doesn't cover. You could find more on how to donate at fox2detroit.com. The Ann Arbor Fire Department says it's likely that the fire started somewhere on or near the second-floor balcony, and indications are that this was an accidental fire. In Ann Arbor tonight, Dave Spencer on The Edge.
They're not caring about anybody's commute. He's not caring about any of the safety of anybody else. They're fleeing at high speeds.
A high-speed chase through several communities ending with a violent crash on I-94, leaving the driver in critical condition. The driver was ejected and seriously hurt when his vehicle slid down an embankment onto I-94 near 9 Mile, near the border of East Point and St. Clair Shores. Sterling Heights police had been investigating a stolen vehicle when they spotted another suspicious vehicle, a black Dodge Charger, and started chasing him. Officers used stop sticks not once but twice, but weren't able to stop the suspect. Nobody else was hurt.
Frightening moments at a Catholic school in Detroit when a bullet came through the church's wall. And happened this morning at Loyola High School. Shortly before morning prayers in the school's chapter, the bullet blew through the wall. About 40 students were in the chapel at the time, but no one was hit. Students were taken to the gym for safety, and classes were canceled for the rest of the day.
It kind of caught me off guard, like, what? That's unusual.
Yeah,
very unusual for this school, because all the boys there are very good kids.
Police continue to investigate what happened and are looking for security video from the neighborhood. St. Clair Shores police warning residents tonight to lock their car doors after a surge in thefts from Dodge Ram trucks.
Thieves are breaking in and making off with dashboard touchscreens. Police say the heists are quick, only taking suspects 30 seconds to get the screens. At least 16 thefts have been reported in the past 2 months alone. One victim says his truck was broken into while he parked in his own driveway.
I've never stolen from anybody. And they do this. That's what hurts. You're low-life idiots, losers. You know, get a job.
Police are urging Ram truck owners to park in their garages if possible and beef up their home security cameras.
The Detroit Tigers home opener on Friday ended with an arrest after someone actually flew a drone into the stadium, into the park. Police say the suspect flew the drone into the stadium after the first pitch. Officers found the operator on the top floor of a parking garage near Brush and Adams. Details on the suspect's identity still have to be released. The FBI and police from Michigan State Police, they've taken over the investigation. We're told criminal charges are pending.
Let's talk about the weather. It certainly doesn't feel like spring outside.
Yes. So what will you need when you wake up tomorrow morning? Let's turn to Weather Authority Rich Luterman.
Jacket, tassel cap. It's going to be chilly out there. It is. We had this cold front come through today with the rain and the wet snow showers. A lot of you saw the snow. Most of that action is now well off to our east, but there are some flurries on the backside, even a few heavier snow showers close to those snowbelt areas of northern lower Michigan. Some heavier snow showers east of Port Huron and Sarnia. There's that cold frontal boundary with snow showers in the Finger Lakes of New York State. Around here, it's very light flurries through Lapeer County, perhaps getting close to Anchor Bay and Fairhaven, a couple of flurries around Marysville and Port Huron. You can see some of the fair weather clouds right here in Southfield, but it's cold at 28 degrees. We actually made it to 50, the official high. 30 is the low. Boy, the average is 55 and 36. Look at some of these readings right now. 27 Ann Arbor, 26 in Pontiac, 25 in Lansing and in Ionia, 28 up there in Port Huron. That breeze continues from the north and northwest, which brings the dew points down. It makes it feel rather cold out there. Look at these wind chill values. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these readings dip into the single digits before we get to sunrise. 9 degrees out there in Ironwood. That's cold. These are actual temperatures. 22 Sault Ste. Marie, 38 Columbus, 32 in Chicago. So we're going to have a cold day tomorrow. High pressure comes right over us, so we'll see sun and clouds. Then Wednesday evening into Thursday, our next weather maker takes shape, and this will bring some additional rain and wet snow showers to the area. Not for tonight, though. It's brisk, it's cold, down to 24 on average. Tomorrow is a chilly afternoon, up to 39, brisk and cold. And then check out the 7-day forecast. Once we get beyond this next system, Wednesday night into Thursday, we actually see improvement temperature-wise into the weekend, 55 and 59. A week from today, much more spring-like at 67. Taryn, that's a good-looking forecast. We'll check it at 4 a.m.
A lot better. Thanks, Rich. Well, tragedy at the workplace after a man is killed at the Stellantis engine plant in Dundee. The automaker says the employee died in a workplace accident. It happened around 1:30 this morning. Monroe County Sheriff's deputies say the 62-year-old employee was critically injured by a machine while working on the assembly line. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. MIOSHA is now investigating.
Well, Michigan's proposed Public Safety and Violence Prevention Fund could see a major boost, The $115 million expansion would help distribute funds to law enforcement across the state based on their violent crime rates. And Fox News' Dave Kinchin breaks it all down.
You know, when we saw your idea about a public safety trust fund, we looked at it very carefully and said this has a lot of merit.
The top Republican in the state House meeting with Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan and top brass in the city's police department, along with most of the large law enforcement agencies around the metro area, working on ways to pump more money into crime reduction.
With Speaker Hall, he's been down here regularly. And this is what we need. This city has become a major asset to the state of Michigan, keeping our young people, building the economy.
Speaker Matt Hall is leading the House effort to expand a proposed Michigan Public Safety and Violence Prevention Trust Fund to more than $115 million, with the goal of putting more tools in the crime-fighting toolbox for cops across the state.
Listening today to our chiefs of police, if we get them the resources that they need, they're ready to hire more officers, they're ready to buy the equipment, and they're ready to patrol the streets and to ensure that we bring our violent crime rates down.
The issue is a bipartisan pickup of work started last year when Democrats and Republicans in both the House and Senate united around public safety. This time, a Democratic House member is key in reviving the set of bills working their way through the GOP-led House with some changes, like support for county law enforcement also added in.
We're all willing to commit to get this done as soon as possible. This is an issue that impacts every Michigander, whether you live in a blue district or a red district, whether your sheriff's a Democrat or a Republican. No matter where you live, you're touched by this issue. So let's just get it done.
The Senate already voted for this, and so this is a bigger and broader package.
The move builds on the $75 million pledged for the fund by lawmakers last year, using part of the state's sales tax dollars to foot the bill. In Detroit, it could mean helping police better pursue the bad guys who use those hard-to-track ghost guns and firearms with bump stocks, while building on DPD's successful community approach to crime.
It'll be about $9 million that we're going to invest in community violence intervention. And so it's really about changing the hearts, minds, and cultures of individuals that carry that type of equipment, I should say.
We asked Chief Todd Bedison if the new public safety fund would alter his strategy for addressing potential violence at block parties this summer.
I have the resources there, but it's always and. I can do so much more. I have a violent crime issue, and it's going down. It's historic lows, but it's still far too high.
So really, this is a matter of continuing work that was started last year when both sides, both parties came together in the House and in the Senate. You heard from Representative Farhad, a Democrat out of Dearborn and Detroit, say it's really a matter of people coming together and getting it done. At Detroit Police Headquarters, Dave Kinchin on The Edge.